Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at some hip stretches to prepare for splits and contortion. I'm beginning in a lunging position with my knee on the block. You can see I'm kind of sticking my butt out and tucking my tail. You want to tuck your tail when stretching the hip flexors. What you don't want to do, you do not want to stick your butt out and bring your tummy forward. You can see when you look at the front of my hip, I'm robbing my hip of a stretch. When I tuck the tail, squeezing the glutes, engaging the abs, you can see the front of my hip juts forward. The hip bone comes forward and I can feel that stretch down the front of my hip. You can put your hand on your glute. You can put your hand on your tummy. That's going to help remind the muscles to activate. It's tactile cueing. Here I'm coming down and I'm just doing little pulses in this deep lunge. I'm really pushing through my back leg. That's really pushing me into this stretch while I pulse. Note, I'm pulsing, not bouncing, not throwing myself around. Tiny, controlled movements, activating the muscles, squeezing and releasing. Tiny little movements, dropping my hip further and further forward each time. I'm starting to drag my hand backward towards my heel, and I'm touching my side body. Again, I'm cueing the muscles on my side body, sort of on the flank, beneath the rib cage and above the hip bone, squeezing, using that muscle to drive my hand further and further towards my heel, towards the wall, squeezing, trying to make a C shape with my spine. Each time I slide my hand down my leg, trying to reach further and further, squeezing, contracting those muscles tighter and tighter. Now I'm going to start bending my elbow. This is just activating a slightly different sequence of those muscles on the side body, kind of climbing up into the rib cage a little bit more, lowering my elbow down, squeezing the side body, trying to get that elbow lower and lower, reaching my armpit towards the back of my thigh. Again, just tiny little movements, dynamic, moving in and out of these movements. Those are my go-to hip flexor stretches. We're going to move in to some quad stretches. When you're doing splits or back bends, the quads are really important. Quadriceps are on the front of the thigh. Very important, equally as important as the hip flexors. Here you can see I'm sticking my butt out. No. Squeeze the glute, tuck the tail, keep the abs on. Bring your heel towards your glute. Continue to tuck the tail as you come into this lunging pose. Dynamic stretch. We're just moving in and out of this. You're feeling the stretch on the front of your thigh, gently moving in and out of this. Each time we drop down, we're noticing that stretch on the front of the thigh. Each time we come up, we're noticing that release, coming further and further into this each time. Here, I'm giving a little bit more space for my heel, reaching my fingers down. I'm pinning the top of my foot in my armpit, reaching my fingers towards the floor. And I'm just sitting into this, doing some gentle pulses here and there, holding the pose, wiggling around in it. And finally here, just a little demonstration of the power of the hips. I'm just leaning back into this position. I'm really barely using my back flexibility at all. Just pulling through the glute, reaching my arms over my head, basically coming into a warm-up position for a needle scale. Reaching my head back. This is so much in the hip. The back of my head is on the back of my thigh, and I'm able to grasp my foot. Again, the power of the hips. Always focus on the hips. These tutorials do not replace or negate professional, individualized instruction and are for entertainment purposes only. Always check with your medical professional before beginning an exercise regimen. Okay, thanks. Bye.